All right, so jumping over to Mike S. now. Mike, I believe I had answered you via email this week. My email went to spam. That's quite all right. But you got it. But this also is a question that came in from Virginia via email today, Mike. It's a really good question, of course. Mike was using the Iron Condor screener earlier, using the search tool for Iron Condor positions. As always, I'm going to say I would be hesitant to use this strategy in an uncertain market. But again, a lot of investors like to use it on SPY, for example, but with an extraordinarily low delta of maybe 0.10 or less than 0.10 delta on the put and on the call. Well, on the call, 0.10 or less. On the put, minus 0.10 or lower, which is technically higher, but we will talk about that right now. On this particular screen, however, we do not have the delta of the short options and the delta of the long options. For the 4 options, you can set the individual delta. We can set the delta ratio for the calls and the puts. And I know a lot of investors like to use the delta more. But in these cases, what I would do, and as I mentioned, we talked about this for Virginia, and we talked for Mike as well, what I'm going to use is the probability above the short put strike and the probability below the short call strike. The probability is going to be, you said percent in the money as a proxy, Mike. What I'm going to use, I'm sorry, is the probability. Probability and delta is pretty close. If you've got a delta of 0.15 on a call, your probability is going to be somewhere between 83 to 87, roughly. If you've got a delta of 0.10, your probability is going to be between 0.88 to 0.92. I'm sorry, your probability is going to be 88% to 92%. I'm confusing myself here. I'm sorry. But that's what we're going to look for. So if you wanted a delta on the sold call and the sold put on your Iron Condor of 0.15 or less, I'm going to start off with a probability, say, of greater than 83%, below the short call strike price, and a probability of 83%. And I'm going to run the search. We only had 4 or 5 results that came up initially. Oh, good, they're still here. So what I can see, I believe, let me change the columns. I don't think the delta is here either. I thought I had the programmers add it, but not add it as a column. I'm sorry, add it as a column, but not as a filter. But we do have the probability, so I'm going to have to use that. So probability above short put, probability below short call. Let's add those in. And what are we looking at here? We've got our Costco position, 42 days out, November 18th, 2022. We're looking at the 340 put and the 515 call with Costco at 468.15. So we're 148 down and about 58 up. Okay, so we're skewed a little bit here. Short put, yeah, we're a little bit skewed, but that's okay. Yeah, the put has a 96.7% probability, and the call is the 83%. Let me see if I can change this to find results I want. Oh, that's why this was a skewed search. I'm going to put this percent out of the money range to try to be between 45 and 55. Now, what this means, the percent out of the money range is looking at how far the call and the put are out of the money from the current stock price. Forcing it to be between 50 means the call and put are closer to equidistant away from the current stock price in an Iron Condor. You're not skewed one way bullish or one way bearish. Okay, so this changes now. My apologies. Now we're a little bit closer. Snowflake at 175. 120 call. Sorry, 120 put. 55 points down with a 90.4% probability above. 230 short call strike. So we're rough, 55, pretty much close to it, right in the middle there. 55 up at 230, 89.3% probability. Let's go ahead and look at the research for the short put. Probability above 90.4, delta of minus 0.072. So it's close. All right, you'd expect maybe a probability of around 92 or 93. Snowflake is a little bit more volatile, so that again affects it. But this delta is below 0.10, looking for that probability of 85% or more in this case. Now let's go back. Now let's take a look at the call, the short call research tool. 89.3% probability, Below, that's about close, delta of 0.133. So it's not quite 10, but if we were at 90 or 92% probability, that would probably push it that direction. So you can use that, play around with the probabilities. Is there something? Costco is still here again, and I think this is a little bit less volatility than Snowflake, but I know it has been moving. Yeah, 14 points down today, but it's at 468. We're at 395, so 73 and 535. A little bit less than 67 roughly. 88 and 91, just real quick again, let's go through that exercise. Research tool. Short put, 88.3% probability above. And that gives us delta pretty much of 0.09. Negative 0.09, of course. So the delta there, looking for higher probability, we're around 89 or 90. Delta of less than 0.10. For the call now, we've got our probability of 91.7% on our short call. And there we go, 0.97, almost pretty exact there to the difference to 100. So rather than percent in the money as a proxy, Mike, you want to use the percent probability. I think that's going to get you closer to what you want. I would start off, depending on what your other criteria are, maybe greater than 85% for both the percent probability above the short put strike and the percent probability below the short call strike. If you're not seeing the deltas that you want them to be a little bit more out of the money, a little bit higher delta, 0.1 or maybe 0.09. Maybe increase those probabilities up to 90% apiece. And I think you'll get very close to what you need to be in those cases, okay? And sorry, my email went to spam. Remember, I want to make sure that now that you've noticed that, mark my email address as a preferred sender. So next time you have a question and I give a response, Mike goes directly to that as well. Okay. So that'll also take care of Virginia's question with more of a visual, even though her email, she got it right away and was able to take advantage of that during today's market discussion. Again, just to be honest with you, you've heard me say this before, I'm hesitant to do the condor positions, even with high deltas and high probabilities in uncertain markets. I've been looking more at sort of the out of the money strangles with the uncertain markets we've seen to sort of profit in both directions with the more wild swings and unexpected swings that we've been seeing. However, I do like Iron Condors. I like the double premium up front, just like everyone else, usually with a 90%, 95% probability in most market conditions. You're going to be able to have those both legs expire worthless. But again, if we're in more normal market conditions, we have less volatility, so you're not getting as much bang for the buck